True story. 8 years ago, I ordered a custom bow from a reputable bow manufacturer all the way across the country. We talked a couple times, talked about woods and styles, and then we settled on what I was looking for, gave him my specs, and paid my down payment. 7 months later, the bow was ready. I paid in full. He shipped me the bow. I hated it the minute it came out of the box. It didn't look good. It didn't feel right. It didn't shoot good. I ended up selling that bow 3 weeks later for $250 less than I paid for it. I took a bath on that, and my wife was not happy. Enter Black Widow Bows. They have a test drive program. If you're even remotely interested in shooting a Black Widow bow, give those guys at the shop a call. Talk to them. Tell them what you're looking for. They're going to give some really good guidance. They're going to have some really great advice. They're going to have a bow that's close to your specs on the demo rack, if not right on. You're going to run your card. You're going to pay for shipping both ways. You're going to pay for insurance both ways, and you're going to get to shoot the bow for a week. You might decide you don't want to shoot a Black Widow bow, and that's cool. Send it back. But you might decide you want to order one. You want to make some tweaks to get it just what you want. I wish I had that option 8 years ago. If you're thinking about a Black Widow bow, give those guys a call. If nothing else, they're fun to talk to. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Stickbow Chronicles, brought to you by Black Widow Bows. I'm Rob Patuto. We got the band back together. What's going on, Blake?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Glad you could make it.
I know. It's been, seems like I can only make one out of every 3 or 4 here lately, but here we are.
We'll get... Well, you're making the important ones. Is that what it is?
There you go. Trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's things been going down there in Texas?
It's been going. I had a little rough start to the season, but that's starting to wear off a little bit. And if guys didn't catch the Instagram posts I made, I shot the buck that I was hunting opening weekend. Felt like I made a really good shot. And then, went out that night and found very little blood, trying to get a dog out there the next day. And long story short, it took me a couple weeks to find him, and he only went about 175 yards. So it's a little rough. It would have been my biggest year with a bow, but, things happen, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And, if you learn something from it, and if you can teach us something from it, I mean, that's what this whole community is passing on knowledge. I mean, that's a tough one. But glad you're going to get back in the saddle.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to try and get back out the next week or so and maybe shoot a couple of does and just kind of work my way back into it.
Oh, you guys kill me down there. Shoot a couple does. You guys kill me. Well, I don't want to keep our guests waiting. We got a returning guest, super cool guy. I want to thank the sponsors, Kifaru International, The Footed Shaft, Selway Archery, Ironwill Broadheads, and of course, Black Widow Bows. We've got Randy Cooling on the line. What's going on, Randy?
Hey, good night. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Well, thanks for fitting us in your hunting schedule, because, man, you're on the go.
Yeah, it's that time of year, and my wife reminds me, she thinks I hate her every fall because I'm gone quite a bit. And this year I drew a bunch of tags, so I was actually, things got a little piled up on me, but that's the way it goes.
You talking life?
Yeah. Huh?
Are you talking life got a little piled up on you?
Yeah. No, I drew I drew an antelope tag and a Colorado elk tag and a Montana Missouri breaks tag, and then I drew this special permit for Montana for the breaks to hunt on this private conservancy for 3 days that was just loaded with elk. And then I'm going to Missouri here in another week, and then I drew an Iowa tag for hunting whitetails late season there, so I'll be able to go hunt my farm this year. So yeah, I drew a lot, but I think I burned all my luck out on drawing tags. Needed some left for killing.
You have a place in Iowa, right? But you can't draw a tag every year. Is that correct?
Yeah, if I want to hunt there during the rut, it takes 5 years for me to draw a tag to hunt my own property.
And
they love taking my tag.
Just saying, that's rough, man.
Yeah. And so I had a tag last year, and so what I'm getting up there in age now. I kept thinking things were going to change, and they probably eventually were going to give landowners the opportunity to buy at a really high rate, but buy a tag to hunt your own ground. And I don't see that happening anymore. And only getting it every 5 years, pretty depressing when I'm 61 years old, and how many hunts I got left there. So I applied for a late season tag for there, which is it's a late muzzleloader season. Starts in December, late December, and ends January 10th. And I drew that with no points this year. And we got food plots in there, and we always have some beans on there or corn. And then we got about a 4-acre food plot. And my brother texted me the other day, there was 16 does and fawns out in there feeding. So should be able to keep them in there for this winter when it gets late, and they should get yarding up in there and hopefully have some good bucks hanging around there.
Now, it's a muzzleloader hunt, but will you be able to bow hunt?
Yeah. You can use a muzzleloader. They call it that, but believe me, I checked it over close. You can use a muzzleloader, a handgun, or a bow.
Gotcha.
During that late season only.
When is this?
In Iowa, Iowa during shotgun season, you can't even use a bow.
Oh, no kidding.
Colorado, you can't either.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's always been pretty tough there. They really done their best to keep non-resident people out of there. I think originally when they started and they went to non-residents, I lived there back then, and it was a fight. But I think what made them do it was they were worried about states going to reciprocal on hunting, to where if you won't let our guy, people from our state hunt, well, maybe people from Iowa can't hunt in our state then.
Yeah, wasn't that like that in Kansas for a while? Or Kansas didn't allow non-residents or something like that?
I don't know. Iowa didn't forever.
Man, I could be wrong, and I'll get scorched for it, but seems like I remember Kansas didn't allow residents, and then states were going to do just what you're saying, and then they started allowing residents. Or excuse me, they weren't going to allow non-residents. Yeah.
Right. And I think Iowa didn't. I think it was probably, I've been here 23, probably 25, 26 years ago, Iowa just started letting non-residents in.
Wow.
And, something like that.
And one other thing, what are those dates on that late hunt?
I'm going to be hunting January 2nd through the 10th. But
dang, buddy, that's going to be some crappy weather.
Oh, that's all right.
Pretty cool hunt, though.
Yeah, we used to go out all the time and hunt late like that. We'd get some, 40 below wind chills and stuff like that, but you just bundle up for it. And usually it's only the last couple hours at night. you find where the deer are moving to feed, because they'll get yarding up, and you'd have 20, 30 deer coming by you at night.
When do they
all going out to fields?
When do they shed? Because I know in our late season, the end of December, that you hear every once in a while a guy shoot a deer and he reaches down and grabs the horns and one will pop off because they'll start shedding mid-December, late December. Some of them.
Yeah, they will there too. They can get loose. Yeah, you want to be careful. But if you shoot a really big one and want to score it, you want to be careful and not be grabbing it and dragging it by the horns, because you just don't ever know. But they shed clear up, I think, into March.
Yeah, that's kind of like our deer too. I got to go off the rails here for a second. My neighbor, he killed a moose. Him and I, it was the last day of moose season. He kills a moose, Shiras bull, big bull. And we go to yarding that thing around, and I call a timeout. He had a big split in one of his eye guards. And I mean, it was going to, if it got bound up, it was going to break. I ended up going and getting baling wire and wiring that thing together. And it was a good thing I did, because it scored, God, number one in Boone and Crockett for the 3-year cycle. I mean, it was a monster. Yeah, it was like 181 and change. But anyways, I saw that split in that eye guard. I was like, time out, man. We need to save this.
No kidding.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen any come off, from that late. I don't recall it, but I know guys that have had them, grab them by the antlers to drag them out, and they pull one off.
Well, before we get down to the reason, or the kind of the topic of the podcast, you posted some pictures. You kind of probably wrecked Toby's day today when you posted some pictures of your bow. What do you got going on there?
Yeah, I've been pushing Toby a little bit to build me a bow and use some carbon on it, and he got his hands on some, and he actually he made Denny a PSR with carbon on it, and Snyder's getting a PSA with carbon on it, and then I got a PMA with carbon on it, and they're just trying them out, seeing how they work. He's learning to work with it, and how to cut the laminations, to get have it come out at the right poundage and stuff. What? And that right off the bat, this thing, it's 2 pounds less than what I was shooting, and I had to take 50 grains of point weight off to get it to shoot a bullet hole through paper.
Because of those 2 pounds, you think?
No, that the bow shot so much harder than my other one. I needed a stiffer arrow.
Okay.
2 pounds lighter, and I still needed to take 50 grains off my point weight.
Was it a riser? Was it a riser that you already had?
Yeah, it just went right on my gray bark riser.
Wow. So 2 pounds lighter, and you had to take off 50 grains. Man, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I didn't shoot it through the chronograph to compare them. I haven't been chronographing my bows much anymore. I don't really care. I shoot what I like and tune them to shoot a good straight arrow, and I don't really care about speed so much anymore. The only thing I got to do with it is check my gaps and see where I'm at outside 30, 40 yards. Because I was shooting against what I usually always shoot. I was shooting a 560 grain arrow. Also out of 57 pounds, and now I'm down to 55, and my arrow weight's down to 510 because I took 50 grains off.
Oh, that's gotta be screaming.
To get the arrow to tune.
How do they draw, Randy, compared to the regular limbs?
Really about the same. I mean, really, really nice. The set is, I really like them. I mean, the thing is, you can't twist these things to save your soul either.
You know, that's what I was going to say.
It's going to make it harder and harder. It's going to make it harder and harder to torque. You know, it's going to make it more forgiving and hard to torque.
Now,
when they won't bend.
Huh. It'll make it more forgiving. I was my head was going the opposite direction.
No, because you can't twist the limb.
Yep.
Like if you grab that riser and pull on that string, you can actually twist your limb and stuff. You try it, you know. Well, now those limbs twist.
Well, I'll tell you, I was hanging out with Trent Wingard last year, and we were talking about this very thing, and he handed me a set of limbs, just normal limbs, and he says, "Go ahead and bend those." You know, it's just taking it in my hand, and you could, you know, get some lateral movement out of it. And then he handed me some carbon limbs, and it's phenomenal, the difference. I mean,
yeah,
your hands are the same length or distance apart, and there's just nothing. You ain't going to move it.
Yeah. That's what.
A lot faster recovery too, I would think.
Exactly, and you're not going to have, you know, they're not going to vibrate as much after the shot either. They're going to come to a stop a lot faster. And they're lighter because of the carbon. It's lighter than the glass. So that should, you know, and we're not, you know, I was doing it more, you know, asking for it, that more for the stability of it. And I told him, I said, I'm not looking for it to pick up 10 feet per second of that. I was looking for the stability of the limb itself. And, I just got them Friday. So, you know, I got it set up and I'm going to take it hunting here, but, so far I've really, really liked them.
No difference. So you're not seeing any difference in, draw weight, stacking, draw force curve.
No, I don't notice any, you know, like that. I don't. They seem just like widow limbs always to me. They don't seem any, you know, I don't notice anything like that. Not in these anyway.
So you, Randy, Randy and Aaron, or you, Denny and Aaron are the chosen ones. The rest of us masses have to wait.
Yeah, that's all he told me I had to wait.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil, you know.
Yeah, I've already been bugging him. Not gonna lie.
Randy put a post on Facebook, and everybody just same thing with Denny, though. He had put a post up and didn't say anything about the limbs, and everybody was freaking out. And I just said, man, Monday's going to be hell answering the phone at Black Widow.
That's why Denny called me and he says, "What'd you do?" And I said, "You posted it first. I wasn't going to do anything, and you stuck a picture up there, so you started it." And he said Toby didn't care, so I asked him first before I did it. I didn't ask Toby. I asked Denny, so I hope Denny wasn't lying. But
well, I was messaging Toby, and he's out of the office on Monday. That might be by design. He's going to let Roger deal with it.
Yeah, I tagged Roger on Facebook so he'd know it was up there.
That's funny.
Know what was going on. But I really think they're going to work out. I don't look for him to be available till maybe ordering them maybe by next summer or something. You know, I don't think he's gonna be able to get them right off the bat because he just now build them. You know,
right.
So I'm sure he's going to want us to beat him around the woods and shoot the hell out of them and everything before he starts selling them.
Yeah,
I think anyway.
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, you're certainly gonna want to run them through the ringer before you start producing them.
Yeah, and getting them out to everybody. But I think guys are gonna love them. I sure do. I really like them.
Trad police probably won't.
Who?
The trad police probably won't.
Oh no, that's what Kidner posted on my thing. He says, I don't know about a carbon is trad or not. He said, what do you think Fred Bear would think of that carbon? And I said back to him, I said, I think Fred Bear invented carbon. So,
Kidner, I love the guy. He's a pot stirrer. He's always throwing Molotov. He's throwing verbal Molotov cocktails at all times.
Oh, there isn't any post I ever posted. He says, "Are you sure that's trad?"
Maybe we should start. Maybe we should start a hashtag defund the trad police.
That's right.
There we go.
See how long that lasts.
We'd probably put a hit in your pocketbook though if we did that, wouldn't we, Rob?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have a pocketbook. I got a man purse, bro.
Aren't you part of the trad police?
Me? Oh, only by age, only by demographics.
Yeah, that's like me too. Because you always see what I shoot. I'm far from. I guess
approved equipment.
I don't even know what trad is. Back in the early '80s, I was shooting vanes off an elevated launcher rest on a Hoyt takedown.
You're confused.
Takedown. So
you're confused. Speaking of arrows, how's those arrows for gap shooting going?
God, I'm loving those arrows. They got a great coating on them too, and I'm just you can see them. You especially I think guys shooting instinctive are really gonna like them too. I mean, you can really follow that arrow, and you'll be out in the sun, and it'll go into the shade, and you can follow that arrow all the way in through the shade into the animal too. When we're shooting 3Ds,
really,
the guys were just that I was with. Yeah, they going, my God, we can see that arrow the whole way. I said, I know, isn't that neat? And just finding them, when you.
I know Denny was had posted that Marie was shooting like her best scores here shooting 3Ds.
Yeah, they're an Easton axis, arrow wise, Easton's just a good decent arrow and stuff, or axes are just a good arrow, all around arrow, and they're an Easton axis, but they got this white coating on them and stuff, and I haven't been able to scratch it or anything. And it's shooting in targets and shooting into the ground and stuff, and it's really holding up well. I love not having to put tape. I always put 1-inch fluorescent tape on the end of my arrows, so I could see it in my peripheral vision when I was aiming, and I don't need it anymore. And that stuff, it even kind of glows. I've posted some videos on Instagram and that at dusk, and they really stand out. I think they're worth a try for everybody to, give them a shot. If you like shooting Easton axis arrows and that, they're going to be reasonably priced. They're like $109. I think they're going to be $109 a dozen. And
so
I'm gonna be carrying them on my website at Safari Tough, but I think I'm also gonna sell them as singles too, so guys can buy maybe 3 different spines to see what they need before they get ordering them by the dozen or that. That's my plan. I won't have them till they still don't have them all in. And they don't have any 400s yet. They're expecting them by the end of next week, the 400s.
400s, like the most popular spine?
Yeah, and it's I don't know why. They don't have them all. They're going to have a 260 clear down to a 700. Wow. And the only thing available right now is 500s, 600s, and 340s. So I haven't got them up. You can get them from Three Rivers. I haven't got them up on mine yet. I've been waiting. I didn't want to do just this partial stuff, but if I can get the 400s, when I get back from Missouri, I'm probably going to get them up on there and get it set up so guys can buy single shafts and try them out. and but all will be available then is 4 5s, 340s, 400s, 500s, and 600s. So, which is what that pretty much hits everybody, most people, I think,
Mm-hmm.
is, that range does.
I'm probably going to go back to Axis arrows. I love micros, but I'm running into some durability issues as far as stump shooting, and
I got tired of losing outserts.
Yep.
On chip 3Ds, and I've tried every kind of glue, rubber super glue, all that stuff, and you know what? I think it's fine, but I think after a year it breaks down or something, because all of a sudden I'll just start pulling them off of arrows.
Yeah, and they're not very concentric. I don't know. It seems like every time I get away from an Axis or a 204 shaft, I always go right back to it. I've been trying the micros, and it's just a components thing. These components suck.
Yeah, and that's my only reason. I loved them. I shot Black Eagle X Impacts for I don't know how long, and they are perfect. Their spine, I quit checking them because their straightness and their spine is always perfect on every one of those arrows. They're expensive. I think they're like $175 a dozen or something.
Are they that much? I thought it was.
For retail. X impacts are. Deep impacts are cheaper.
Oh, okay. I'm shooting the deep impacts.
X impacts are like $175 or $180 a dozen.
I like them. I really, really like them. I mean, they fly great. I love them. My problem is just having some durability issues with the knock end, splitting the knock end. And, I do a lot of stump shooting, and I'm probably, quote unquote, abusing the arrows, but I didn't break Axis like I break these. So I guess it's not a slam against the company, because I'm probably out of the parameters that they designed for. But
you fix the knock ends. You can go to Lancaster Archery and pick up top hat collars, and they're a really thin, lightweight collar to go over the end for knocks. And because I would split them with Dex Impacts, even on a hard glance is usually when you crack them.
Yeah.
And I went to those knot collars made by Top Hat, and with the outserts on them. I was shooting Valkyrie stuff too that really beats up the end. His stuff's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shooting that, and if I broke one, I broke the arrow up about 10 inches up from the end. I never hurt the ends, or the knock end after that. And that was with the X impacts, which are actually thinner than the deep impacts.
Really?
Yeah. The X ones are lighter, a lot lighter than the deep impacts. Yeah. Which is why I was shooting them. And
well, my frame of mind,
like your a deep impact 300, say, is like 10.5 grains an inch, and X impact is like 8.5 grains an inch. They're that much difference, and so over 32 inches, you're talking quite a bit of weight. But the XM, that's the only trouble I did really have. But when I broke them in the middle, they didn't just break. I was slanting them off a tree or something like that.
Sure. So what kind of components are you running on the Axis now?
I'm putting Easton bars on the point end, the broadhead adapter rings, and then I'm just running the 16 grain aluminum insert right now. I'm probably I had to drop down to 125 grain broadhead, going to these carbon limbs to get that arrow stiff enough. And probably after deer season, I'm going to cut them down, because I think I got room to cut them down. I'm going to cut them down and try and get up to a 175 point again, somewhere around there, get a little more weight up front. But I'm not worried. I'll just be hunting deer. And I've shot a lot of stuff with, back when we swaged aluminum arrows, had no outsert, no inserts in them, swaged them and glue on a 100-grain broadhead,
Oh,
I shot plenty of stuff like that with no FOC, basically.
yeah, the old swedged aluminum. I'd knuckle bump you right now if we're in the same room. That's old school.
Yeah. And then I shot 24-13s.
Nice.
So it took nothing to bend the ends of them,
Nice.
Back then when we were doing that.
Those BAR, is that what you said they were? Those collars?
Yeah, broadheaded rings.
Yeah.
Made by Easton, yeah.
Are they just a little tiny little black collar? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I've used those before. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna look. I'm actually checking into making some kind of footer to sell with Safari Tough for them, maybe. But you can buy footers to go over them too. Companies make.
Well, I was just cutting some. I was just cutting some arrow, some aluminum arrow, and and epoxying it on there, and those arrows were indestructible. Literally, the only thing that I'm lacking is the micro diameter. So I'm just going to go back to Axis. They just seem to be bomb-proof.
Believe it or not, I've hit with that bar on there. You're not going to drive the point into the end, which you can do shooting field points. You can drive them into the end. You hit a rock.
Yeah.
I've glanced on a couple rocks where I have broken the field point off between the bar and the end of the insert that goes in the arrow, the hit insert. I literally broke the field point that is in that arrow and broke the shaft and the field point off between that. And I've done that to 2 arrows. So I'm thinking, a footer should take care of that.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Axis for a long time, and it just seems like the Axis with a footer is just about as bomb-proof as you can get, almost on the front end anyway.
Yeah, and I never thought about breaking it there. I was more worried because I shot Axis for 2 years ago. I was more worried about driving my field points into the end of the arrow because I'd done that enough. And I never even thought about breaking them off with behind the bar and ahead of the insert, the hit insert. But that is the weak spot on them. So you're talking pretty hard and at the right angle to do it too. I've made a lot of hard hits with them and that too that hasn't hurt them. So.
Hey, your phone must be cutting out a little bit.
Mine is?
Yeah, a little bit.
Is that any better?
I think so.
No. I live kind of out in the...
So just, unless you got anything else you want to talk about equipment there, Blake?
No, going back to the Axis versus micro thing, just running like a traditional outsert, it just seems like it's like one out of every half dozen or so that I just cannot get to spin quite right. Like I can get it close, sit and spin that into the outsert, and I can get it close, but I can just never get it just perfect. And with the Axis, that HIT is indexing your broadhead on the straightest part of the arrow, which is the ID of the arrow. And I never, ever, ever have issues getting a broadhead to spin running an Axis with a hit. And that's another big thing for me.
Yeah, I still use an arrow squaring tool on the end of the Axis.
For sure.
Square it off.
Yeah.
But those, you say I never have using Valkyrie stuff. His stuff is so perfect. I've never had one that wouldn't spin perfect using his stuff.
And I've never used his stuff. I've heard people talk about how awesome it is. And the only reason that I haven't is because being married to one broadhead thing. Otherwise, that would be the way to go from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just now was switching back. they got me at the right time. I'd lost a few outserts and I'd had it. I just was pissed. I hate pulling them off in my 3D when I can't get a hold of them, and leaving them in there. And so they got me and then told me about these white arrows and wondered if I was interested in trying them. So I did. I'm just, it's always kind of fun to change anyway. I've changed and been through so many broadheads my whole life. It just hardly went from a year to year using the same broadhead. And I've been using Valkyrie for quite a while. And I think before that I was shooting, I've used everything. Just never know. Sometimes it depends how the arrows tune out and what weight of broadhead I need too on what I go to for a broadhead combination.
Well, I know I'll be interested to try those bare bow arrows just because my recent experience, if nothing else, I've always been a big fan of the Axis in general. And then I shot that buck real low light and I couldn't see my impact, couldn't make out exactly where I hit him. And I mean, having a solid white arrow might have been the difference of seeing where I hit him. So.
Yeah, and even with those, if you stick it in them and they run off, you're going to really be able to see it easy.
How far does the white go up on that shaft?
All the way.
Solid. Yeah. Solid,
no kidding. See.
Yeah, but it's got a birch, like a birch bark wrap on it that Easton. Not on the knock end, but in the middle where it tells it's got the label of bare bow, Three Rivers, bare bow, and all that on it. It's got traditional Vision Quest on it. That's a wrap around it. And then from the wrap up to the knock, you have about, maybe 8 inches or so. But the shaft itself is all white, except for that wrap in the middle.
The birch bark wrap. There you go, Rob. It's still trad.
There you go.
Well, I was going to say, who was making arrows? Who was making arrows 20 years ago with that birch bark look to them?
Easton.
Was it?
Easton, you could buy aluminum arrows back way when XX75s that had birch bark on them.
I'm getting a lot of shots from Texas here, kind of like windmill freaking punches coming from down.
You send me random shots throughout the day just because.
Yeah, that's all right. That's what I do. That's good stuff. Well, Randy, I was hoping to get you on here because it's been a tough year for me. It's been a tough year for some other people. Just speaking of elk hunting, been kind of crazy this year, and not just in Idaho, not just for me, but elk hunting was kind of a tough deal. And it's, you wait all year long. I get my 10 days of hunt in, and I've been kicking rocks and feeling down, but I stay in touch with you a lot. And, from early this year, you've been on some big hunts, and, you haven't punched the tag. So, I thought it'd be good to talk about, keeping a positive attitude, hunt to hunt to hunt. What did you start out with this year? It was a big deal across the world.
Yeah, Jenny and I went to Turkey to hunt Bezor ibex, and it was quite a trip. It was my whole problem, and what it came out was just getting close enough to them. I got to the point that here we go. I'll get something from Kidner. That's not trad, but I was shooting really, really well, and I had a point on to 70 yards, and I was going to use it, if I got the chance. We'd get on these ibex all the time, but just getting close to them, and you had to be careful because if you spook one, they're all going to run up into the bluffs where you can't get to. I got a couple times. I got 86 one time, and I think I got low 80s on another time. But the kind of thing I thought was funny, my guide we got there and we range found it, and it was 86 yards, and I shook my head and I said, I need 17 more. And he just went, "Oh, okay." Like, and I'm thinking, anybody, normally you'd laugh. I want to get to 70, But I was practicing midday while we were glassing that, and I was keeping them pretty much in a basketball at 70 yards. So
that's incredible.
I was
shooting.
willing to. I was shooting really, really well. I wish I was shooting like that right now, but I haven't been. But yeah, I'd been working on it because I knew there was a chance there's going to be some long shooting and that. But, given myself that range, I still couldn't get close enough. And we were in ibex pretty much every day. We'd glass from down below, and then we'd have to go up after them and try to get to where they'd work over in front of us. And the trouble is there's so many eyes there and stuff because there was, I don't know, there was always 30, 40 ibex around there, and they'd be scattered around, and it made it really, really hard. There was some timber pines to get up fairly close to them, but then you run out of it, and it was just wide open.
You shooting 70 yards. We've talked about this before, but I've never actually brought it up. It's 70 yards. I mean, why not shoot a compound?
Why? They don't need it.
That's what I'm asking you.
I never would have thought about it. I don't need it to shoot 70 yards. I can do it with a recurve.
Okay.
You just drop your anchor, don't you, Randy?
I dropped down I got 3 anchors. I dropped down to my third anchor, and my shelf was point on at 70 yards.
Okay.
The shelf of my bow. Yeah.
Impressive.
Point on at that time was point on at 70 yards. So, yeah, it just normally I don't think of shooting that far at anything.
It's not just all the eyeballs, right? I mean, it's the terrain that they live in that makes it so hard, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, it was kind of broken to the point that if you only had 1 or 2 ibex rams in there or something, you could move around. But the trouble is, it's all up. It's pretty steep, and they're scattered up it, so they always can see everything.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they're scattered all over and above you, and it's open up there, and so, and it is what it is. You go there. It costs a lot. It's a pain in the ass traveling there. It was a real pain in the ass getting out of there. They extorted $270 from me.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. When I went to leave, and they got Denny too, but I don't think they got as much out of him. When we went to leave, I'll say first, when you go in there, they count you got to send ahead of time, send the serial numbers off your bows, and you got to give them an arrow count. So when you go in, they count your arrows, they check your serial numbers to make sure you have the same bows you told them you were bringing. So when you go out, they check all this too, and count your arrows and all that stuff. Why, I don't know. I think it has something to do with if you come in there with a gun, you're only allowed 50 bullets.
Interesting.
So, they count your bullets coming in. So I figured this is our bullets. But
what happens if you're short?
Yeah, well, okay, Denny took it. That's a whole nother story. But Denny did end up taking a running shot at an ibex. That the guy started going, shoot, there he's right there, shoot, and it spooked him. And Denny took a shot, so he didn't find the arrows. So he went to leave. I was standing there. Denny wasn't right there with security, but I was with the PH, and they said the PH looks at me because they're counting Denny's arrows, and he says, "How many arrows did Denny have come in here with?" And I said, 26. And he says, and they said, "There's 25 here." He said, "Yeah, he shot one." Oh, okay. That's all it was.
So
they just
they didn't charge him. They didn't charge him or anything.
nothing. But here's where they gigged us. When we went to run our bags through, they told us we were not allowed to have our bows and our arrows in our duffel bags, which we came in there with them and everything. But security took them out, and they did all this paperwork on them and wrote them up. And now, since they took out our bows and arrows, I now had 4 bags instead of 2. So now we got to pay excess baggage fees. And they ended up charging me. And so I sent my bow, both our bows went home in that transformer bow case I have. And I thought, well, this is going to be a good test of how well it protects the bow. And they said they'll be in the Chicago airport when you get there. And we said, well, where do we pick them up? Because they weren't letting us check them through. They were going to walk them onto the plane by hand. And now I had to go pay extra baggage fee, and our guides in there just bad words back and forth with all these people, how they're screwing us and stuff. And we had to catch a plane, and I said, look, I'll pay it. We got to get out of here. I'll pay it. And they were holding the plane for us too, because they were waiting for us. They knew we were there and checked in, and they were waiting for us to get on while we were in there. And the guys just mattered heck and that going on. And finally we paid them. And I think I paid $270 and Denny ended up somehow got by with $180 or something like that. And then of course our credit cards wouldn't work. Had to dig out cash for them too. So,
it wasn't in rubles or anything.
No, I don't even remember what they had for money. But no, it was just that. And you want to know the truth? That was the only. I think the worst part of the whole deal. Everything else went smooth. Great people to hang with. Had a lot of fun. Learned a lot. You know, the culture is really different. Very poor overall. But it was a good time, and I don't regret it. I mean, you go there and I used to worry a little more when I was younger about it because I didn't have the opportunities to do it. But guys can get real hung up on the money part. You know, I spent this much, so I should get something. And usually I hear it. I don't know if this is nice to say, but usually it's guys' wives expect them to come home with something if they spend a lot of money. You know.
But keep your expectations low. My wife has no expectations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but she's been around you a long time. So.
Oh, man. I'm getting it from both sides now.
Oh, that's messed up.
But and that is something. I mean, I've gotten over that, and you know, and just like you say, why not take a compound? Well, then why not just take a muzzleloader that you can shoot 300 yards with, or why not just use a rifle? You know, the same. I have no desire, you know, I have no desire whatsoever to shoot a compound at this stage of my life, or a gun. I don't. You know,
I was just prodding you, man.
I know, but I get that a lot from people, and I just have no desire whatsoever to use anything else. And this is very embarrassing to say, but I've now been on 5 Doll sheep hunts and haven't drawn my bow. And
was one of those this year, right?
What? Yeah, I was this year.
Oh man,
I went in August this year. I saw one legal ram, and it was feeding towards us. It got to 86 yards, and thought finally this is going to happen. And the wind changed, and scared it. And that's the only legal ram I saw after hunting. I don't know how many days we were on, like 10 days. And so, but I mean, I'd love to get a ram, but I just have no desire to do it any other way at this stage of my life. And in the very, very end, who cares? You know, whatever after I'm gone, nobody's going to care if I shot a Dall sheep or not.
That's awesome, man. You are so right. You're so right.
No, they're not. I mean, and that's the way I look at all of it. I don't worry about pleasing anybody but me when it comes to hunting, So,
and that's why I wanted to get you on here. Cause I was just talking about my elk hunt and how freaking irritated I am, 365 days, you wait for it and, you got fires and you got, crazy, critter movement. How you, and I respect the heck out of you and what you've done and your experiences and how you can go on these, I'm going to say awesome hunts, but like this year, it's been a struggle for you and how you keep that mental, that base, how you stay grounded. It's like, like, just like what you said, nobody really cares after I'm gone. Like, I'm just having fun.
Yeah. And you know what, when I'm driving home from a hunt, like, the sheep hunt, we're traveling home. I wish I'd have got one 5 times up there. That's a lot of money. I could have used to maybe be hunting some other animals I don't have, maybe a different sheep and stuff like that. But I'm thinking about the next hunt. I mean, I get done with one. I'm not dwelling on what happened. Even if I do shoot something, I'm not. I mean, I like it, think about it, but man, I'm thinking about the next hunt and getting ready and planning in my head for that and what I got to do. And I'm just always looking forward to the next hunt. And so this year was really bad because after that turkey hunt, and then we were supposed to go out to hunting in March and they canceled it when the COVID stuff was starting. The owner of the ranch wouldn't let us come down and hunt. And then, of course, I had a polar bear hunt canceled in April, postponed till this coming year, which I hope they just moved it. And then I had a black bear hunt in Alberta that was getting moved till next year also. So getting screwed out of hunts there. But then I went sheep hunting, and then I did draw an antelope tag in Wyoming, and I did shoot an antelope. Actually shot the one I passed up like on the second day, and then I shot him the fourth day when he came in. I got thinking, well, I got one more day. If I want to shoot one, I better shoot. So I actually passed him up at 15 yards broadside drinking. And then when I did shoot him, he was at 33 yards, quartered away real sharp. But, then from there, from antelope, I went down I drew a Unit 61 tag in Colorado that took me 24 years to draw. And
for elk.
For elk, yeah, for elk. And it is a fantastic unit. I don't think I saw any bulls. I'm not the greatest judger. I don't want to, but I don't think I saw any bulls that were probably much over 320 or that. But I did see a bunch of bulls that are between 3 and 320. And I was into them in one spot that it ended up, I backpacked up where they were, and it was so hot, no water anywhere. So I'd hunt up there, hunt the afternoons or the evenings and afternoon evenings. And the next morning, and then I would go back to the base camp where my buddy was, see if he needed any help. I'd get more water. I'd go back up, stay the night, hunt the morning, go back down every day. So I was back, and it wasn't terrible up and down. I mean, but I was doing that every day, and I got into elk there every single morning and every single night. And I had bulls screaming every single morning and every single night. And there was sometimes they'd wake me up in the middle of the night screaming. But it was oak brush. It was really, really thick oak brush. And I could call them in. I had a bull into 30 yards. All I could see was his belly and his legs. He was coming, and the wind changed. I had another bull. I'm not big on cow calling normally, but I called a bull that was just going nuts from about 500 yards away. Every time I'd cow call, he was beside himself, and I got him into about 60 yards, and I couldn't get a good look at him, and he just turned and walked away. And he turned and walked away, but he kept screaming. And that was the trouble I was having in Colorado, was these bulls had come down the mountain, and I'd get to points where I could glass them coming down, and I'd get up the spot, and they'd be coming down screaming, and then they'd just turn and walk off. Or I'd get one going, and they'd walk uphill, away from me. I was getting in. I mean, I was working them and getting them in, inside 100 yards, but they just would never. I don't know. And it was so thick, I always made sure I was hid, because if they can't, they know right where you're at. If they can't see anything, they're not going to come in. And I was making sure I was staying hid all the time so that I know they couldn't see well enough that they should come look. But
were you did you pass any shots up?
No, I just on cows. The smaller bulls I saw that were coming, and once I figured they were a smaller bull. In fact, I posted on the last morning I was hunting. I got in on had a little. I think that was a little 5x. I was working in, and he was same thing. He was walking away from me, but I caught up to him. I quit calling and I catch him, and I saw what he was, and then he started walking away, and I didn't even. I don't know how far I was when I saw him, and I just didn't even try. There was another bull screaming that I thought sounded better, and I went over, and that turned out to be about a 300-inch 6-pointer. And I had him just across the draw from me, and then he walked away, too. He was just going nuts, back and forth with me. And that's how it ended then, that I had to go home, unfortunately. There's another week of season, but I'd already been gone from home for 3 weeks, so I had to get back to work mainly.
Work?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I know.
You still
not
work?
Long. Not much longer. I'm going to retire in January at the latest. It's interfering with
congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I've been doing this job for 42 years now, so I'm just tired of it. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, that one really hurt because it took 24 years to draw that tag. And, it's a point, but I don't ever go hunt anywhere. I always hunt elk on my own, and I don't ever get to go anywhere where you just have all these good bulls, so I think 10 or 11 elk, but I don't have a bull over 300 inches. And that's just something that is one of my what do I want to say? Basically on my bucket list or something I want to do is I'd like to get a bull that's at least up around 320 or that sometime. And so that's what I was trying to do there. Just because of the opportunity that was there, I didn't want to just kill an elk, because it was such a special tag to draw, and it was well worth it. I mean, it was just great hunting. And
that's kind of why I wanted to get you on here is just picking your brain on, your frame of mind and, again, with all the social media and everybody posting, success photos and stuff, a guy like you that so many of us look up to and, have done so much with a stick bow. When a guy like you goes hunt after hunt after hunt, and to keep that enthusiasm and positive outlook, I mean, I think passing that on and talking about it is really important.
Yeah, I really appreciate the hunting more now than I probably did, 30 years ago. I mean, back then, you want to go really bad. You want to hunt. Everybody wants to get something, but I don't have to. And there's way, way, way worse things in life than not killing an animal on a hunt. It's just,
not going.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah, that's worse than not killing. That's exactly right. I never looked at it like that. But I mean, I've been through a lot. My wife's had some bad health problems, and so I have probably, I don't know if that's even done it so much, but my attitude about, how things play out, I just do what I want and what's going to please me. It's just like shooting a little spike buck or something. If it pleases you, kill it. I had a buddy one time. I stood and watched him shoot a cow elk. This was the tiniest cow elk I've ever seen. I mean, it wasn't a calf, but it was little. And I'm looking through the glasses, and before I can tell him what's what, his bow goes off. And he hits it. He hits the back and it runs off. I thought, oh my God, is this guy know what he just shot? And I'm worried now that we're going to get to it and he's going to look at it, and it was not very big. And you'd have thought that I killed a 400-inch bull out of that. It was absolutely fabulous. And it was a big relief to me because, I was going to hate it if he was upset with it, but that was his first elk, and he killed an elk, by God. But guys play things down, and I don't like that when guys shoot stuff and play. Oh, I only shot this, or I only shot that, and I look at it like if you shot something and made a good shot on it and put it down quick, there ain't nothing better, no matter what it is.
Yeah, especially when you look down in your hand and you got excuse me, you look down in your hand, you got a single string bow, and you got within that bubble of protection that ungulates have. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I mean, nothing's easy to get. It's still hunting, and I mean, it's easy. You think it wouldn't be, but when it's an animal, it's very, very easy to mess up. And I don't know. I guys making excuses for stuff they shot. That kind of gets me down. And I've seen it a lot, but I hate seeing it because they wanted it or they wanted to shot it. And
if it trips your trigger, you better be ready to be excited about it.
Yeah. Now, you do get ground tripped, a lot of times, especially on bears. but even bucks, you can, one comes in quick. You're trying to shoot a bigger one comes in quick, and you get a think, oh my God, oh yeah, that's nice shooting. And you get up there, and it's not as big as you thought it was. But I figure you make a good shot and get it. That's great. It's I don't know. I hope it changes. I kind of think it is more. Guys get more on other people about worrying about what the other people shoot.
No, I think it has improved, and I think you're a great example of, and it's good conversation of being out there and enjoying it, and whether you're in some foreign country having to being extorted to get out of there, or in a Western hunt that you've taken 24 years to draw, just enjoying the process, and I think that's so important. Whether it's been 5-6 years, somebody, picking up a single string bow, standing in a tree stand, trying to kill their first deer, and they've got those years behind them where they haven't punched a tag, but It's just relishing in the challenge and all that's happening around you, rather than get that success photo out on social media and look for others' approval.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I don't know. Sometimes people, they feel like they got to prove things to other people and that, and
it's human nature.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it just.
If anybody needs to hear some of this stuff, it's me, because I'm my own worst enemy whenever I have a rough go at it on a hunt or make a bad shot or whatever. I guess it's the only thing I can blame it on is my competitive nature. I guess I'm too competitive with myself to the point of I just expect to be successful, I guess. And I need to do a better job of taking a step back, I guess, and enjoying it for what it is. And just, with social media, I think Rob makes a good point. I think people feel too much pressure to have the success photo at the end of a hunt that they lose what they should, or they lose sight of what they should be enjoying in the first place. And I'm just as guilty of that as anybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing about it too, when you're like that, one thing you got to do, and I don't know who I said it to on Facebook or somewhere, but somebody had wounded an animal and didn't get it. And they were really upset. And, you know what? Something bad happens like that. I always say, I get the rest of the day and the night or whatever. You get one day to whine and pout and whatever you want to do, and then you get over it and keep going. Because it's only going to hurt
about
you.
2 weeks.
Yeah, you see right there. And the trouble with getting too hard, you can get, so you want something so bad that you lose your patience that you need to be making the right moves and doing the right thing to get the shot you need.
And I think part of the reason this last thing screwed with me so bad is because I did feel like that I made all the right moves and all the right decisions. And, I don't know exactly where I hit that deer, but he only went, 165, 175 yards. And it took me 2 weeks to find him. And I just felt like I did everything right. And it still just was a total kick in the nuts. Now, I ended up finding him, and, that's great to have closure and all that. But it just, maybe somebody else will take something out of this too. Cause I was, you can ask Rob, I was a basket case for a couple of weeks, and, I'm still kind of getting over it, but, you got to put that last arrow behind you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's no fun being miserable every day either over it.
No.
It's not going to make anything better or make you any better or that, feeling like that, putting that kind of pressure on yourself. It's not going to help.
In that case, Blake, you felt like you made all the right decisions, and you're dealing with that frame of mind. But on the flip side, when somebody pushes their limits because they want to be successful, we're talking about a whole nother paradigm. It's a whole paradigm shift of thought process. But when somebody's so eager to succeed, and so they start making poor decisions, that's where. That's a tough deal. A whole nother. I don't even know where I'm going with that, but that's a whole nother set of issues.
Yeah, well, it's
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean,
it's going to make your anxiety worse too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to make anxiety worse. It's bad enough when, when animals come in and you get nervous and buck fever, whatever, and that. And it'll just, I remember the days when I'd have an animal coming in and, well, I forget what Snyder calls it. My right knee would shake like a son of a gun and start bouncing.
Typewriter leg.
typewriter leg.
Huh? Typewriter leg. That's what it is. Oh, I used to get that so bad. I remember, and now I've got to the point I can stay calm and control everything till everything's all over, and then I couldn't hold a pair of binoculars up to look at it, running off. But yeah, just that feeling, that need to kill is just, it's pressure that adds to that, thinking, I got to make this. I got to make this shot. I got to make this shot,
Yep. That's when poor decisions get made. But, shifting from the negativity, I found that you had hunted, what's that prairie in Montana? What's that project they're doing?
I hunted a Blue Ridge Prairie unit, but it's a conservancy thing, like.
Yeah, that was fascinating. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was, if you draw a Missouri breaks tag for 6, 20, 21, and 22, then you can apply for this 3-day tag to go hunt in this conservancy ground right in the middle of it. And I had no idea. Buddy just said, hey, you got to apply for this. I drew it. The chances were 0 and none, and I drew it. Didn't even know what I drew. And you can't go in there. You get 3 days to hunt. They give it 8 archers get these tags. You don't even get a tag, you just sign up, but 8 archers can go in there. They each get 3 days, but you have those 3 days to yourself. No one else is in there. No one's allowed on this ground ever or anything. And there is a road that cuts through where I was, but you're not allowed to, you can drive through and look, but you can't go out. You can't scout. You can't do anything. So when you're like, mine was October 11th through the 13th, I could start on the 11th and go in there and hunt. And all these elk, I would see 200 to 300 elk a day in there. And
damn,
giant bulls. I don't know how many bulls I saw there were over 350, around 350 or more. And I lost the second day in the afternoon. It started raining and we had 50-mile-an-hour winds, and I didn't go out there. And then the third day in the afternoon, it rained, and I went out hunting anyway. But it's so wide open there that, and so many elk, that it's almost impossible to get close to them. And I did call some in. I did call in a bull that was, and I was going to shoot him. It was the last morning I was there. I called in a bull that was maybe 310 or so, a really nice 6x. And I got him to 15 yards, and he caught me. I needed about 3 more seconds to be ready to shoot him, and he come over a little ridge and caught me. Oh, knob. And I called on a few others. It's just bulls. It's elk screaming all the time. Just constant screaming in there all the time. And it was just a fabulous hunt, and the opportunity to do it. And the opportunity to stalk bulls, that these huge bulls that are, and try to, but there's just cows everywhere. You glass bull, like, clear down on this ridge. Oh, I can get around this ridge here and come up over the top and get a shot. And the minute you start going, you'd run into 20 cows or down or something. They were just, and usually there was some timber in there, but they always stayed out in the open pretty much. All the big bulls. I never saw any big bulls in the timber. So, and once again here, I could shoot I couldn't shoot a cow, but I could shoot any bull. I had no desire to shoot anything unless it was what I thought was getting up there close to 320 or that, because they were just, it was an opportunity. And, the best opportunity I've ever had to shoot a big bull. Big 6-pointers, and it was just crazy in there. I've never been anything like that. Almost felt like you're on a high fence ranch,
So
is what it felt like.
Just to understand your frame of mind, say it's the last minute of the last day. I mean, sunset is at 7:30 and it's 7:28 and a cow steps out. Are you shooting the cow?
Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah. No, just curious.
Huh?
I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't, that's something that, from your mind can change from day to day and stuff, but in there, I guess I'm thinking about right there. I don't think I can shoot cows in there.
Oh, okay.
But
raghorn.
Outside of that, I might. I don't know. I might. I've shot one cow. The very first elk I ever killed was a cow, and since then I just shot bulls. But, I don't know. I get my mind and my heart set on something not anymore. I'm always thinking. I'll tell you something. I've talked about it before. I don't know if I'm here, but I hunted 17 days for a bighorn sheep. I drew the tag. Took 22 years to draw the tag. Never going to draw it again. I hunted 17 days of my recurve, and that afternoon on the 17th day, I had one more day to hunt. I grabbed the guide's rifle. We belly crawled to 525 yards, and I shot a bighorn sheep. I had when I was so calm shooting that thing. I understand it now. I'd never shot anything with a rifle. And
up to that point, you hadn't shot anything with a rifle?
That's the first time I ever shot a rifle.
Wow.
Was that sheep at 525 yards. And I laid down on the ground, had the gun on a pack. He adjusted the turret. He used the rangefinder, adjusted the turret, I believe it's called. And all I had to do was hold the crosshairs on the sheep. And I shot him. I hit him exactly where I was aiming, and he dropped like a ton of bricks. Slid down the mountain a ways. And I have him mounted. I was glad to get one. We were way up in there, had to load him on, we had to backpack him to the horses to get him out of there. And I was there, I wasn't going to eat that tag. I wasn't going to burn that tag because I could never do it again, But I have that sheep mounted downstairs. It's beautiful. I love it. I just don't have the same feeling for it I got for everything else everything else that I have mounted. It's what goes through my head is I had one more day. maybe I could have did it with the recurve. And I don't like that feeling. So, I use a recurve because I love to shoot stuff with my recurve. It means so much for me to get it done with the recurve. And so that's how I feel about, I got this beautiful bighorn down there, Matt, but it's almost I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
No, it's not a bad, but yeah. It's
well, I would suggest, or I would say that you're a method hunter, right? It's more about the method than the end result is directly measurable by the method. So I know exactly what you're saying.
It is to me, and just the way I am, right? Nothing against how anybody else does anything or what they do. I don't care.
Exactly.
I truly, most of the friends I hunt with a compound. I don't even look like I don't even look at it like they got an advantage over me, because I usually can get it done just as much as they do, or that.
Oh yeah, I think I think we're all well aware of it's far more about the abilities of the person behind the bow or the weapon than it is about the weapon. I mean, I think we've solved that mystery.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely how I feel.
Do you feel like you've been on a couch of a psychologist talking about all this, Randy? It's kind of deep stuff.
I'm just thinking this. I'm sitting here thinking, God, am I boring people to death?
No, this is awesome. No,
I think it's been great.
Yeah, this is stuff that needs to be talked about. This is so beneficial to, like I said, that guy or gal that's picked up a stickbow and spent 3 or 4 or 5 years trying to get their first animal. Just trying to keep the right mindset.
But
beneficial to me.
But that being said, though, I don't want it to think that I go on these hunts and I tell my, when I go on guided hunts, the guides will say, can we go here? I said, where? It's great. I'm still there to shoot something. I don't want it too underplayed. I'm just there to experience the nature and walk around and see things is good enough, because I'm more there to shoot something too. That's important, but it's not important enough that I'm gonna come home and whine and cry if things don't work out.
Yeah. Your phone is cutting out
again.
Yeah, it's better? Unfortunate. Super unfortunate.
Moved away from me.
No, I appreciate the whole purpose of this was to talk about, to encourage people, like, yeah, you sit in a tree stand behind your house, or and you're trying to get it done. It's just keeping the right attitude, just staying grounded and having fun, just looking at the little things and enjoying it all. It's a tough mountain we're trying to climb. And,
25 years ago, if I was hunting with my buddy and I have a buddy that's the best whitetail hunter I know. And I don't even know how many big bucks he shot anymore. I elk hunt with him, but he really loves whitetail hunting. And 25 years ago, it used to depress me a little bit that every time we went whitetail hunting, he killed a Pope and young deer. And I couldn't even get a shot at one, One year, we had this funnel. We had this ground that bordered Missouri and Iowa. We were hunting in Missouri, or Iowa, I mean. And we had tags for both. But anyway, we had this spot that was just fabulous we found. And we were out walking and found it. And he got up in there. He missed a Pope and young buck one night, missed a Pope and young buck the next morning, and then killed a Pope and young buck that night. Now, 3 and 3/6 come by him. And I'm going nuts because I want to crawl in this tree stand. And he kills one, so I crawl up in that tree stand. I don't even see one. I don't even have a really decent buck come by me. And back then, it used to annoy me and start working on me a little bit. And I think it was jealousy, But the big thing is, not letting that jealousy get you to where you're,
Yeah.
you want to be happy for whatever success anybody has.
Absolutely. And I think it's tougher and tougher
it's not
to be
easy.
Yeah, it's tougher and tougher to be happy with what you have and what you got going on. The more social media and everybody's success is put out there, it's tougher to just put your head down and enjoy what you got.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you got to make the best of the hand you're dealt. If you sit around and sulk about somebody else is doing this or somebody else has got this privilege or somebody else, you can sit and do that till you're deaf, dumb, and blue, but you've got to make best of the hand you're dealt. And, if people focused half as much of their effort on enjoying hunting for the reasons that they enjoy it instead of pushing or worrying about how somebody else is enjoying it, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, but got to make the best of the hand you're dealt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, life's not fair, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and however it plays out, and got to keep moving.
So, switching gears, what's up with Safari Tough? What do you got going on over there?
Well, I'm. That's another reason I got to quit my job. I don't have near enough time. I don't have near enough time to get things out and get things done that I want to. I've been. I am going to get the 3D arrows or the bare bow arrows coming out, and but I have this bow quiver people are after me for. I'm trying. I got them waiting for hoods now. They got that all figured out. I wanted to have them out before hunting season, and that never happened. I'm also learning that manufacturing and dealing with other companies and ordering things and that, it's not a very fast process at all. And
that's your 2-arrow.
You never know.
Is that your 2-arrow bow quiver?
Yeah, my 2-arrow bow quiver. And the hoods were the big thing to get done and figured out. And but it is, and I got some coming right now. Supposed to be. I thought they were going to be here. I ordered them before I left hunting and was gone 3 weeks, and they said should have them after a couple weeks, and I don't have them yet. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping to get them out by around the beginning of December, I hope. So, but that's coming out, and the thing about that, the reason I built that is I've made this thing light enough that, especially for guys who don't like having something on their bow and they want to have a couple arrows, you'll find that it's light enough that you pull an arrow out of it, you leave one arrow in it, your tune's going to stay the same with or without this bow quiver.
Nice.
And as opposed to throwing on an 8-arrow quiver and that, you got to tune your bow with the quiver on and arrows in it, because you're a bow without any quiver on it and a bow with quiver is you're gonna tune totally different, and you'll need a stiffer arrow when you start adding weight to your riser. You got to get a stiffer arrow. So what I found with mine and doing this thing and building it is the tune's the same with or without this quiver on. The thing is, then it's kind of guys that like to have an arrow ready on their bow and that, and shooting an Arrow Master. They still can have the Arrow Master and carry a lot of arrows with them, but have one ready on the bow is the whole thing. It was kind of to complement the Arrow Master.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'm hoping to have that out here before, at least a few weeks before Christmas. Then I got a few other little things I'm working on right now, but getting in that, things are just getting calls returned to you. I'm learning a lot. I've never, worked on elevators my whole life, repairing them and stuff. And So I've had a lot to learn and find out how things work in this kind of business. But it's going well. It's Safari Tough's doing real well for me right now. I'm happy with it, and I appreciate everybody and the support I've been getting from people on that. And
we've been getting some I hunt close trad kill 2020 pictures with Safari Tough quivers in them. I probably ought to be forwarding them to you.
Yeah. Because I always tell everybody, and the big thing is, if anybody has any issues or questions, problems, whatever, call me, because I can always take care of them. I've yet have anybody I couldn't take care of an issue they had or a problem with something of that, and because things get by, nothing's perfect, and always, and no matter how hard we try and watch, things just happen once in a while. Not very often, but the big thing I'd like, if people, regardless, before you order and that have questions, please call me. I'm the only guy answering the phone, so you always get me, and I enjoy it. I enjoy always talking a little hunting, and usually the phone calls turn into, a quick question turns into a half-hour phone call, which is perfectly fine.
Yes,
so I like hearing.
Yeah, it does. I bug you all the time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to have any short phone calls anymore. That's why you text, because you won't have time to talk.
Yeah. I'll call you next time I miss something and want to suck on my thumb.
Yeah. I won't have much pity. I'm sure you're gonna have to go a long ways before you miss more than what I've missed.
You just tell me what Snyder does whenever I call him. He tells me to suck it up and quit being a puss, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
That's usually what I need to hear anyway.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. Because I can't remember who it was the other day that said something about it. I don't know if they wounded or missed or something. I think they wounded when they couldn't find it. Yeah, I told them that. I said, you get to be a baby about it one day, and then that's it. That's all you get.
Hey, speaking of which, Randy, I don't know if I shared that photo with you or you'd seen it. I think I sent it to Blake. What? Did you see that buck that walks by that trail camera with a freaking hide ripped off him?
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys didn't see that?
You didn't send it to me.
I haven't seen it.
Oh crap, dude. This is unbelievable.
What, did cat get a hold of it?
No, you know what? Several of the comments I saw suggested maybe it got hit by a car. This buck, and it's a big, mature, beautiful buck, steps in front of this trail camera, and it's a video, and it walks past, and from the middle of its shoulder blade to just before its hip, and probably 5 inches wide, the hide is gone. From the backbone down like 5 inches wide, it's insane. I literally only could watch it once. It's disgusting. But the buck is like unhurt. It's obviously not unhurt, but it's just walking. You can see its shoulder blade flexing. You can see it actually moving. You can see the shoulder blade.
Wow.
And you can see the back strap and just before the hip. I'll have to send that to you guys. It was flat.
I wonder if somebody didn't run a broadhead down the side of it.
No. Unless it was like a 6-inch rage broadhead.
I had some other comments I was going to make. I decided to hang on to.
Rage in the cage?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it doesn't matter, but I got thinking I better just, because I would have been pretty much joking, but I don't know how to win over stuff.
Well, it's so clean. It's so clean. It's just gone. It's not like any hide is hanging.
The whole piece is
gone. It's gone. Huh. It's freaking disgusting. But, it was the caption was like, do you think deer are tough? What do you think happened to this? Oh my gosh, it's awful.
You've seen video of birds landing on live deer or whatever, antelope, and starting to eat on them. They're standing there alive. The hide's been torn like from something. I got away from a cat or something. The birds are on there eating on them.
Yeah.
They're not even dead yet.
Now that you mention it, there was I don't know if it was a mule deer doe or a cow. I think it was a cow elk. It's kind of some famous video footage of a cow elk sitting there. If you just looked at its head, you would think it would just be sitting there chewing its cud, but it was a coyote eating its freaking backside out. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must just go to a place. They must go to a happy place that's like the Bahamas.
Nature's
or
cruel.
Something. Oh,
I don't know. I just know Mother Nature's very, very cruel.
Well, bring that
when it comes down.
Yeah, bring that full circle. What was the quote that Fred Bear had? Is like, any animal that falls to my arrow, it was something about not nearly as bad as Mother Nature is. It's like nothing dies.
No.
Nothing. It's nothing. There's no peaceful deaths in nature.
No, it's terrible, and I hate. It's funny too because people don't understand. I drove by 2 or 3 deer today that've been hit on the road, and all I can think is what a waste. You hate seeing. Anything coons. I mean, I try not to hit coons. I just don't like things dying like that because it is a waste, of deer getting hit. But people don't want to ban cars, though, do they?
Good point. A buddy of mine just sent me like 4 quarters hanging in his shop. He's like, roadkill. So no, nothing goes to waste.
No, it was his own, was it? I hope. Or
no, he was driving. He said he was driving home, and this deer had just been hit, and so in Idaho, you can pick up roadkill and fill out something on the internet, and you're good to go.
Oh, really?
See, I always thought if they got hit by a vehicle that the meat would probably be ruined.
It just depends. You might whack them in the head.
Yeah, parts of it.
Yeah, it just really depends.
You're not allowed to in Texas, so I never messed with it.
We were out looking for a deer one time, my buddies, and we kept hearing this splashing, and we went over to the creek, and there was a deer in the creek, and it'd get up and fall and get up and fall and get up and fall, and you couldn't see anything. It wasn't what he shot, and we went down and we just killed it because it was in such bad shape. Killed it, took it home, and which this was a long time ago, and it was very illegal to do it, but we didn't want it to go to waste anyway. And he took it home, and we skinned it, and it was just the whole body was bruised, just black and blue. So we ended up throwing it out. But it obviously been hit by a car, and it made it clear out into the timber, but it was sad watching it. But
I pulled up that video. I tried to pull up that video in like 3 different places, and it's gone. They've taken it off the internet. It was absolutely, like I said, I could only watch it once. It was gut wrenching.
I'll be damned. Yeah, you hate. I mean, you want to know the truth? I don't even like watching animals die.
No, I'm with you, man.
If I shoot them, I don't like it. Too. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm happy to watch them go right down and stuff, but I don't like watching them die. And I'll shoot if it goes down. If I see it go right down, and I know and I walk up there and it's still alive or something, I just put another arrow in it. Even I don't sit there and I might turn my back then. I don't sit there and like watching them take their last breath and that kind of stuff. That's just.
I always say I'm the softest hearted hunter you ever seen. I was going like multiple times. I just like you, I don't like seeing things die, but it was a late archery season. Me and a buddy were going to go hike up some ridge and look for some elk or something. And I was driving to his house in the dark. It's 6:30 in the morning. It's pitch black. It's middle of the winter. It's colder than hell. You drive by a road hit deer, and it's sitting there with its head up, and that's bad. So I spin around. I usually have I always have a pistol with me, but it's been years ago. I didn't at the time, but here's this deer and it's it's all jacked up, and I end up feeling bad and slicing its throat with a knife. Right. I was absolutely wrecked for the day. I felt like I did the right thing, but it was, it was freaking awful.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's a weird thing. It's hard to explain to a lot of people that don't hunt too,
Well, that's, let me just interject this, because I've been married, 28 years with my wife. We know each other inside and out. She was raising chickens about 5 years ago. And she had one that was, I don't know, a couple months old or something. And she said it wasn't going to make it. And I said, well, she said, well, I just better hit it in the head. It was one of those meat birds, right? They're not going to make it. And she says, I can't do it. I said, you want me to do it? And she said, yeah, would you? And I said, well, it still bothers me. And she says, yeah, but you're a hunter. And I was shocked by that. I'm like, hon, it still bothers me. I mean, I don't like killing things. It was a real shocker for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing even sometimes to understand how you can do it. It's like you get in the moment, you're out there to get something. And then when you get in the moment, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you watch it and you go, come on, hurry up, die.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it is. But just people think hunters are just killers, but
some of us,
but you got like you say, you got to kill to have hunted too sometimes, it's,
some of us are killers like Snyder. I mean, that guy's a killer.
Yeah. He's
blooded.
He had a little trouble elk hunting this year too, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he's making up for it down in Texas, so he's laying down some whooping down there in Oklahoma and Texas.
I felt sorry for them deer when he went down there. He's taking out a lot of aggravation.
That was a nice buck.
Come do it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Well, Randy, you got any other words of wisdoms you want to lay on everybody?
No, nothing you'd like.
Well, nothing you want recorded. Is that what you mean?
That's probably that too. Yeah. No. I'm good. I just hopefully this came out pretty good tonight.
Oh no, I honestly I think it's important to discuss the frame of mind when things just aren't going the way you want them to.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, Randy.
Remember. Well, thank you. I enjoyed being on here. I always do.
Perfect.
You got anything else, Rob?
That's all I got, man.
Okay. You guys have a good night.